In today's lecture, we will understand what is recursion in C programming language and how it works, how we can implement a recursive function, how we can call a recursive function, and what is the working of recursive function. Now, what do you mean by recursion? It is needed or not? So first of all, we will understand what is recursion. So recursion is a process in which a function call itself directly or indirectly. That function which is called directly or indirectly is called a recursive function, and the whole process is known as recursion. Now, we can implement any algorithm non-recursively also. But there are some problems, some tasks which can be divided into subtasks. So the tasks which can be divided into subtasks can be solved recursively. Recursion is a process which comes into existence when a function calls a copy of itself to work on a smaller problem. Any function which calls itself is called recursive function, and such function calls are called recursive calls. Recursion involves several number of recursive calls. A recursive function can be call itself again and again up to some base criteria. For the base criteria, that recursive function will not call itself. So it is very important to know about the termination condition of the recursion. This termination condition of recursion is known as the base criteria, for which function will not call itself again. Now, what is the advantage of recursion? Why we are studying recursion process? So, recursive code, if we implement an algorithm with recursive procedure, it will be shorter than iterative code. However, recursion is very difficult to understand. If a programmer is new, it is difficult to understand the recursive process. Moreover, recursion cannot be applied to all the problems, but it is very useful for the tasks that can be divided in terms of the similar subtasks. So the recursion can be applied to the sorting problems, to the searching problems, and the reversing problems. And there are many more problems where we can apply the recursion, like Tower of Hanoi. It is a problem which can be solved non-recursively also, iteratively also, but it is having very complex code. With the help of recursion, we can write a very simple code of the same problem of Tower of Hanoi. The problem of Tower of Hanoi is this: we are having 3 pegs, peg A, peg B and peg C. There are some disks on the first peg, and the size of the disk are smaller as we go on top. So the last disk size is the larger one. So we need to move all the disks which are placed in the peg A in peg C in the same order. But the rule for this game is we need to move only one disk at a time, and never a larger disk can come on the smaller disk. So this cannot happen any time. This is wrong, and we can move only one disk at a time. So if the number of disks are very small, let's suppose n is 3, there are only 7 movements. But these movements exponentially increases if n becomes large. So what about if n become 100? So there are many moves which grows exponentially. So there are lots of moves. So this problem will become complex if we solve it iteratively. But with the help of recursion, we can solve this problem in 4 steps only. So this is the power of the recursion. We can write simpler, smaller code for the recursive process in comparison of the non-recursive process. Now, this is the mathematical interpretation of the recursion process. Let us consider a problem that a programmer have to determine the sum of first n natural numbers, right? There are several ways of doing the same, but the simplest approach is simply what we can do, we can add the numbers starting from 1 to n, right? So if we go or implement the simplest approach, what we can do, simply add 1 by 1. Let's suppose n is 5. So what will be the process? What will be the value of f5? 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, right? So this is the value of fn. So what we are doing here, n is a number, that is a variable. Whatever value of n for that particular time, we will start adding the numbers from 1 to the n, and this is the simplest way to do. So this process is known as iteration, because in C, how we will implement this? We'll apply a loop from I equal to 1 to less than equal to n I plus plus, because we need to add each and every number. And what we need to write here, sum is equal to sum plus I. And initially, we'll take sum is equal to 0. Sum is a variable, integer type variable. Initially, we are taking its value is 0, and we are starting I from 1, it goes up to n. So this way we can have addition of 1 to n number in the variable sum. So this is known as iterative process. When we apply a loop to solve a particular problem, it's known as the iterative process. Now come on the recursive process. This process, the second one, is known as the recursive adding. What we are doing here, basically, every recursion process is having a base criteria. So first of all, what do you mean by base criteria? Base criteria means where the function will not call itself again. Okay, so if we are talking about this sum of n natural number, so where it should stop? It should stop here when n become 1. So for fn, for n is equal to 1, this value of fn will be 1. So this is what the base criteria. If n equal to 1, the function of fn give 1, right? Other than 1, if n is greater than 1, what I need to do? I need to write the process recursively. So this is what the recursion. Let's suppose I am taking n equal to 5. So what we are doing here, we are writing fn in terms of n plus function of n minus 1. And this is the function calling again. So what we will write if n is equal to 5? 5 plus function of 4, right? And then again, what we will see here, f5, 5 plus, if we expand this function of 4, then we can write 4 plus function of 3. Instead of this, when we expand it, because n is not equal to 1, so we will expand it. So what we can write instead of this? 3 plus function of 2. If we expand it, because n is not equal to 1, so what we can write here? 2 plus function of 1. Here n is equal to 1. So what comes? Instead of fn, what we can write here? 1. So this will expand. So 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. So what comes here? F5 is equal to 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. This is what we require. So this same problem we have solved non-recursively, it means iteratively, and the same problem we can solve with the recursion. So this was the mathematical representation. Now we will understand how we will implement the same problem. Now, first of all, we need to understand how recursion function will work. The function which is called recursively again and again till base criteria is known as recursive function. So how to implement that recursive function? Recursive function performs the task by dividing it into subtasks, right? So there is a termination condition, and that termination condition is known as the base criteria. For that base criteria, function will not call itself again, right? Okay, so how this is the pseudocode for writing any recursive function, right? So how we will write the recursive function? With the help of this conditional statements. This is what? Conditional branching statement. If else or if else if else. So depend on the base criteria. Let's suppose we are having only single base criteria. Then we will write the recursive function with if test condition inside this bracket, and then in curly braces we will write the statement which is what? Some value which we will return. Else will write the recursive call. So if we are having a single base criteria, then we will write if else statement. If we are having more than one base criteria, then we will write this nested if else statement. If we will return some value if this base test condition met. Else if another base criteria, if it meets, we will return some another value. Else recursive call. So by this way we will write the recursive function. For recursive function, always we will use the if else statement or nested if else statement, depend on the number of base conditions. In general, single base conditions there for any problem. Now, the first example of the factorial. If we need to calculate the factorial of a given number recursively, how we will implement it? So this is the program, this is the C program to calculate the factorial of given number. For this, we need to add some header file. As we know, we need to declare the function. Fact is a function here which is taking one parameter, that is the number n, for which we need to calculate the factorial, and the result of factorial of that n number is returned here, right? So here we have taken int. We can also use long int here if we are taking large number and we need to return the result of that factorial of that, then we can use here long int also. But here, for example, we have taken only integer, right? And in main, so this is what the declaration of the recursive function. So declaration part is the same as the previous we use for the normal function, okay? And then what we are here taking value of n from the user through the scanf, no issues in that. Now this is what? Function calling. This is what? Function calling, right? So what we are doing here, we are calling the function fact as it is taking one parameter. So what is the actual parameter here? We are having n, for which we need to calculate the factorial of the given number. So we are passing this n as actual parameter here while calling the fact. And the fact is a function which is returning factorial of n. So for that, we are taking f, an integer variable, for getting that return value, and that value will be printed. So first of all, when this function calling statement executed, compiler's control come here at the function definition. So the function header is same as this, and inside this curly braces, what we are doing? We are writing the function body. So this is what the logic part, this is what the recursive statement. So as we all already know that we can use if-else statement to implement our recursive function. So here what we are doing, we are checking the base condition. As we know, factorial of 0 is 1, factorial of 1 is also 1. It can be written like this also, right? So there are two conditions. 0 factorial is 1, 1 factorial is 1. So what we can do? We can merge these two conditions. If n is equal to 0 or n is equal to 1, this is what the symbol for OR, logical OR. So what we are doing here, we are checking the condition. If n is equal to 0 or n is equal to 1, what we need to return? Because 0's factorial is 1, 1's factorial is 1, so we will return 1 directly, right? Else, if n is not 0 or n is not 1, it means n is greater than 1. At that time, we need to perform this recursive statement. What is this statement basically? Okay, let's understand this statement. In this statement, what we are returning? N multiplied by fact of n minus 1. Let's suppose this n is 5, right? So fact of 4. So what we are returning? 5 multiplied by fact of 4. But this calculation is not completed yet. So this value will not be returned because function call is here for the value of this 4. So that value will not be returned. First of all, function call is having the higher priority. So it will be called again. So this function will be called again for this parameter, right? So what will happen inside the compiler? This 5 and the multiplication will be saved in environmental stack, that is the space to store the intermediate results. That is compiler's its own space, environmental stack. So the 5 and this operator will be saved here in the stack, and this function will be called for 4. So 4 will be passed here in this n, and it will be checked for 0 or 1. No, it is not. So we will come in the else part, and what will be returned? 4 multiplied by fact of 3, right? Now again, because this computation is not completed yet, so what will happen? The function will be called, but the function, before function calling, 4 and multiplication sign will be saved here in the environmental stack. Then function will be called for 3. So now this 3 is passed in this n and checked for 0 and 1. No, it is not. Then again what will happen? Will come here in the else part, compiler's control will come here in the else part, and what will happen? This statement will be returned. What will be returned? 3 multiplied by fact of 2. Now again, this function call cannot be done till this will be saved in stack. So what will be done? Inside the compiler, this we need not to do. Inside the compiler, it's working like this. Okay, so this will be saved. Now this 2 will be passed here in n. It will be checked for 0 or 1. No, it is not. Then again compiler's control will come here in the else part, and what will happen? 2 multiplied by fact of 1. Again 2 and multiplication sign similarly will be placed in the stack, and this function again call for 1. Now this time in n, what will value will be copied? 1. Then it will check for the 0 and 1. Yes, it is 1 this time. So 1 will be returned. So 1 will be returned here, not to the main, because there are many operations which we need to perform before returning the value. So once we are having lump sum, whole sum value, then only that will be returned, right? So one by one, these value will be taken out from the stack and computed, and this lump sum value will be returned to the compiler, to the main function here, and that value will be saved in F. So what will be in F? 120, and that will be printed. That is the value of the factorial 5. This way recursion will work. So this whole process, this environmental stack, intermediate results will be stored in the environmental stack, and these come out, and wholesome value will be calculated and returned to the main function. This is the internal process. When we write the recursive function, we'll get the result 120 if n is equal to 5, right? So this whole process is internal, but we can get clear and concise logic, right? Now come on the next problem, recursive program to print the Fibonacci series. Now what is the Fibonacci series? First of all, we need to understand Fibonacci series is having 0 and 1 first two term, and the next term is the sum of the previous two term, means 1, and the next term is the sum of previous two term, means 2, and the next term is the sum of these previous two term, 3, and the next term is the sum of previous two term, that is 5, and so on, right? So this is what the Fibonacci series. How we will implement it with the help of recursion, right? So we will understand here, okay, here n is a variable, we are taking n, and n terms will be printed on the screen. Let's suppose n is equal to 5, it means 5 term will be printed on the screen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till here. If n is 6, till here it will be printed. If n is 7, till here will be printed, right? So n is the number of terms which we need to print on the screen for Fibonacci series, right? So what we are doing, we are making a function Fibonacci in which we are passing n as not n, I as actual parameter, because we need to print many terms, first term, second term, third term, and so on, as per the requirement of the user, right? So for every term we are calling this Fibonacci function. For term 1 we are calling this Fibonacci function. This first term will be executed recursively and return the value. Second term, for the second term I equal to 2, then for the second term this Fibonacci function is called recursively and it will complete the second term. And in case of Fibonacci series, what is the base criteria? These two terms are given to us, so we will take these as a base criteria. If n is equal to 1, it means first term is 0, so what will be returned? 0. If we are considering second term, then second term is 1, it means what we need to return? 1 if n is equal to 2. And else part we will have the recursive call. How we will write this recursive call? Because Fibonacci series next term is the sum of the previous two term. So if we are calling Fibonacci series for n term, then we can write that last two term. So what we can write? Fibonacci n minus 1, Fibonacci n minus 2. If this Fibonacci n indicate the nth term, then Fibonacci n minus 1 will indicate the previous term, and Fibonacci n minus 2 will indicate the previous to previous term. So if we are talking about n3, it means Fibonacci n minus 1 is this, Fibonacci n minus 2 is this, right? So this way Fibonacci program will be work if we are working with the recursion. So let's start with here. We are taking n from the user. Let's suppose n is equal to 4. User has given n is equal to 4. So we need to apply loop because we need to print 4 term. I equal to 1. We are passing I in this Fibonacci series. It means first term should be printed, right? So as it is a function call, so I compiler control will come here and will check for n is equal to 1. Yes, n is equal to 1. It means what? Return 0. And whatever value we are returning from here will be kept in this f variable, and that is printed. What will be printed on the screen? 0, right? And then I will be increased. Now I is equal to 2. So what we are passing here? In Fibonacci function calling, we are passing 2, and then we come on this function, we'll check if n is equal to 2, n is equal to 1, no, it is not, we'll come here, else if n is equal to 2, yes. So what we are returning here? And return 1. So returned value will be kept here in f variable and it will be printed on the screen. So what will be printed on the screen? 1, because we have not placed backslash n here. So inside, at side, 1 will be printed, right? And then I plus plus, it means what? N become 3. So 3 is passed in this function calling, will come here, n is equal to 1, no, n is equal to 2, no. It means will come here in the else part. What will be returned here? Fibonacci n minus 1. What do you mean by n minus 1? Because we are passing n is equal to 3, so n minus 1 is 2. And Fibonacci, I am writing in short, n minus 2, 1. N minus 2 means fib 1. So we are calling these two functions again for these parameter 2 and 1, right? So what will happen? We will not return this statement. First of all, this function call will be performed and this function call will be performed. So when this function call will be performed, what will happen? Fibonacci, when we call this function, 1, no, 2, yes, what we return? 1. So 1 will be returned here, okay, and fib 1. We'll call this function for 1. If n is equal to 1, yes, it will return 0. So 0 will be returned. And what is the operator between these two? 1 plus 0. It means what? 1. So lump sum value is 1 and that 1 is returned. That will be kept in f, and what will be printed on the screen? 1. So this is what? The third term, and so on. Each and every term will be calculated like this. And as we have discussed in the previous example, that environmental stack is used to store the intermediate results. So this is the internal process. This will be kept in the environmental stack, and one by one that function calling will be performed. Okay. So by this way we can get printed that Fibonacci series. Now, what are the advantages and disadvantages of recursion? As we know, there are some complex problems in data structures and algorithms. So recursion is a very useful way to solve such complex problem, right? So what are the advantages of recursion? The code will be easier to write, as we have seen in the previous examples also. The code is easier, code is shorter, right? So code is easier to write if we are good in programming. For beginners, it is difficult to write the recursive code, but once we are familiar with the recursion, the code will be easier to write. Okay, to solve such problems which are naturally recursive, such as Tower of Hanoi problem. So whenever we want to solve sub-problems which can be divided simply in the sub-problems, those problems can be very naturally solved with the recursive problems, right? Recursion reduces the length of the code. Like Tower of Hanoi, if we are using non-iterative, then 3 pages of code will be there. But if Tower of Hanoi, we are using the recursive process, then only 4 lines of codes is required, right? Okay. There are many problems which can be very complex, which are very complex in data structures and algorithm. So recursion can be used to solve such problems. So these are the advantages of recursion, as each concept is having some pros and cons. So recursion having many advantages as well as it is having the disadvantage also. And the bigger disadvantage of recursion is the recursive function is generally slower than non-recursive function. Recursive functions time complexity is not good. Whenever we make recursive function like Tower of Hanoi problem, if we make and we give n is equal to 1000, it takes fractions of second. So in short, we can say time complexity of non-recursive algorithm is good, better than in compared to recursive solutions. So recursive solutions work slow and we need not require slow solutions. So if possible, we should follow the non-recursive process instead of recursion. So this is the bigger disadvantage. When sometimes we are facing many complexity, means we need to implement a problem and we are it is difficult to solve that problem non-recursively, then we can follow that recursive processes, right? So it is used for the complex problem, not for the simpler one. Simpler one we will use to understand only, right? So it may require lots of memory space to hold the intermediate results. Now what we are understanding, time complexity is not good for the recursive algorithm, as well as if we talk about the space complexity, it is also not good, right? And the next thing, it is very hard to analyze or understand the code. It is not more efficient in terms of space and time complexity, the same thing, same point. So space and time complexity, in terms of space and time complexity, recursion is not efficient at all. Computer may run out of memory if the recursive calls are not properly checked. So programmer need to pay attention properly when using recursive procedure. So this is all about the recursion. Now you can understand what is recursion, how to implement recursion function, and some examples we have done. And there are advantages and disadvantages of recursion. So this is all about the recursion. Next lecture, we will go further in the recursion and we will study types of recursion. Thank you so much.